Well, it seems like everybody's ready to go, so let's get started.
And what qualifies me to actually stand here and talk about raising money? Well, over the last 4 years, I have managed to raise over $13 million in order to be able to purchase and keep 138 units that we currently have. So that's why I'm able to stand here and talk about these 5 techniques tonight.
Well, it was interesting though, when you all said, while you were here, you were all said, or most of you said, you're interested in real estate investing. And I'm like, nobody wants to know about property management? Okay, great, we got one. Awesome.
So corporation is an entity that's completely separate from the people that run it. They're run by directors and officers, and they're owned by shareholders, but they are separate. They have their own existence.
At this point, Darren's going to speak to us about raising capital, which, for those of you who are interested in real estate investing, that's usually the number one thing you're looking for. Is I would love to invest in real estate, I haven't got any money, or I don't have enough. So how do you go and find more? Well, please welcome Darren Wright to tell us how to find more money.
So the first thing I want to talk about is how we get money. And you might think that finance is probably the easiest one to know. And what qualifies me to actually stand here and talk about raising money? Well, over the last 4 years, I have managed to raise over $13 million in order to be able to purchase and keep 138 units that we currently have. So that's why I'm able to stand here and talk about these 5 techniques tonight. So people think that banks don't want to lend you money. Banks absolutely want to lend you money. They need to lend you money in order to make some money for themselves. And real estate is the best asset for them because it's their safest asset. If you go to a bank and ask to borrow money to buy their mutual funds, they will not lend it to you unless you're able to match that debt. And the banks will actually help to analyze this deal for you as well. If you don't have a lot of experience, they're not going to give you money for a deal that you're unsure about or you've got some passion involved in the heart. They will underwrite the deal, so they'll look at the numbers for you as well. So if the bank's confident about going in for it, then you have that little bit of extra assurance that you can do it as well. And then we find a partner who has the money. They don't necessarily have the time, the knowledge, or the team to do it, but they want to get a better return or a longer investment on their money, so they're quite willing to do a partnership. And then the fourth way of raising money is with friends and family. Now, your friends and family could have, a home line of credit, or they could have just a line of credit at the bank, or they could have some savings. But you have to know, this is the best way to lose friends and even family. Because if you've got a friend and you have a deal and you're expecting a return of 10%, which is a great return for anybody's money, if you only come back with a 9% return, 9% is still pretty good, but when they're thinking they're going to get 10 and only end up with 9, then you're going to hear about that every time you go to a family dinner or you'll lose a friend for life. So, and by doing that, you're setting out exactly what the expectations are. So there's no big going back afterwards saying, hey, you promised me 10% because you had a verbal agreement where you didn't say, I promise you. You may have said, we're expecting, but they hear exactly what they want to hear.
So at this point, we're going to turn things over to Darren's better half. For those of you who don't know Dorothy Wright, Dorothy Wright is the co-founder and co-owner of Infinite Properties. She's one of my partners on some joint venture deals that we've done, so we actually have a joint venture. Without further ado, take it away, Dorothy.
It was interesting though, when you all said, while you were here, you were all said, well, most of you said, you're interested in real estate investing. And I'm like, nobody wants to know about property management? Okay, great, we got one. Awesome, well, I'm going to give you 5 tips today. These are things that we've learned, or I've learned along the way, how to manage your property. How to manage your property. Let's go back. So 5 tips for success. And like I said before, these are things that we learned along the way. So it doesn't matter if this is your first property or your 15th property. All the rules are the same. So if you want to take notes, there'll be a test at the end. Okay, so property management, like a job interview. Notice I call them applicants and not tenants, right? So they are, in fact, on a job interview to rent your apartment. Just because they come and they show up.
So at this point in the evening, we're going to move on to our final piece, which is a question and answer with Andrea Epp of Epp Law. Andrea has been a lawyer for 15 years. She's completed hundreds of real estate transactions, including, of course, the purchase of the joint venture that Darren, Dorothy, and myself did. She is owner and founder of Epp Law, well, with her name on the shingle. There are 2 locations, in Brandon and in Carberry. And there are 2 lawyers and 6 assistants in her firm. So Darren is going to sit down with Andrea and do a little Q&A. So please welcome Andrea.
So I'm Andrea, and I grew up in Carberry, which is why I have an office out there. I've lived in Brandon for my entire adult life. This is the second career for me. I started out in banking after taking business, and then banks aren't fun, so I went back to school and became a lawyer. And I originally started doing litigation work, so family, criminal, no civil, just mainly the family and criminal, but I've always done some real estate, the business and background, helped with that, as did the banking. And family's not fun either, so I switched over to real estate, corporate, commercial, and I do some municipal work, so I act for some towns, the city, that kind of thing. And so estate planning and estate administration as well. So what I do is called solicitor work. There's barristers and solicitors. Barristers are in court, solicitors are not. School and became a lawyer. And I originally started doing litigation work, so with family title. So we've got 4 people taking title. How are you doing that? Is it one person has half, the other 3 have 6 each, or state business and background, help with that, as did banking.
either, so I switched over to real estate, corporate, commercial, and
What you want to do.